Why, you'd be coming to listen to Dr. Lindsey Durham, I bet. I'm his wife, Martha, and I'm waiting on him to get back with some herbs I need for the blood pills he asked me to make. He should be back by now. He's been wandering off ever since we got here. He's probably looking for that gold he's got buried. Oh, there you are now. Good. You brought the cucumber root and magnolia bark I need.
Sorry I was late. I was strolling around Maxie's where our home and sanitarium used to be. I had neither time nor inclination to look for buried gold. I did, however, stop by Skull Shoals where our living pharmacy used to grow. My name's Dr. Lindsey Durham, and I tended the afflicted hereabouts from the year 1825 to 1859 when I left this place to meet my maker.
We didn't have drugstores, or apothecaries as we would have called them. Many of our medicines came from medical recipes, prepared with herbs and other natural materials.
Most of the plants we used were grown in the garden I was just visiting. I began my interest in healing plants as a child. My family settled in Georgia on land granted to my pa and grandpa for service in the George Washington Army. The Creek Indians lived across the river from us, and Indian children used to be my friends and my playmates. One Indian boy's grandpa was a medicine man. Sometimes he'd send us out to bring roots and stems, leaves, flowers for brewing. That's when my interest in doctoring and medicine got started. I loved everything having to do with healing, from plants to prayers.
Tell them how you learned about the Osage orange from that medicine man.
Yeah, well, when I was 12, my pa took sick, and it was something terrible. I knew from the Indians that they used Osage oranges for pain, so I prepared and applied them, as the medicine men had done. But my poor papa, he needed much more than that, and he passed away. It was right then that I resolved to dedicate my life to healing. The influence of that medicine man stayed with me through all the years as I practiced medicine.
That wasn't the only place you learned about medicine. You traveled all the way to Philadelphia to study. That was a long way to go for medical school.
It was, but I learned regular medicine there. And I continued to use the healing practices that I'd learned from the Indians down here in Georgia. I used whatever seemed to work. When I met Miss Martha Walker, she worked right beside me, making medicines, writing recipes, holding the hands of the ill and the bereaved. She became my loving companion for the rest of my days. We were married June 25th, 1822. That started our 37-year journey together.
On a mule.
Huh?
I said on a mule. Our honeymoon was a 4-hour ride on a mule. You didn't start out so rich you could bail out that bank in Athens when it was about to go under, and you certainly didn't have any gold to bury.
No, I didn't. But we were blessed with material riches, primarily from the sanitarium, which grew as fast as our family.
13 children of our own, and we took in so many poor orphans, I lost track.
It all began 1825. 3 years after we were wed, it was time to start my medical practice. But there were so few doctors and so much sickness that word about the sanitarium spread.
The sick and suffering came from all around, many traveling great distances. Some arrived in terrible condition, so we built cabins for them to stay in while they recovered. Some who we weren't able to bring back to health, we laid to rest there.
Would you believe that sanitarium grew until we had room for hundreds of patients? Without the help of my dear wife Martha.
And many slaves, we couldn't have tended all those who came for help.
The slaves taught me their healing ways. One boy, slave boy named Healy, used to hang around and pester me, just as I had done to the medicine man. He got so good at doctoring that they started calling him Harry the Medicine Man. These were times of great need. Imagine the diseases and the many kinds of problems people suffered. There was scarlet fever, typhoid fever, spotted fever, brain fever. Some folks had consumption, palsy, dropsy, and fits.
The women were having babies, milk leg, and vapors. The men were getting hurt and hurting each other, getting lockjaw and pox. The worst, of course, were the epidemics. cholera, malaria, yellow fever, and smallpox. The Indians were struck hardest by smallpox. They just didn't seem to have any resistance. Rumor had it the Army gave them blankets that had been used by smallpox patients.
We were lucky compared to Savannah. It almost seemed like the ocean threw the scourges up on the shore. But in spite of all that, 5 of our boys got the doctoring bug. And it must have been contagious because they passed it on to their offspring and on for generations, making it a doctoring, Durham family tradition. And today, imagine my surprise and pleasure at discovering a group called the Friends of Skull Shoals had taken it upon themselves to grow and preserve some of the same plants that we use.
We hope you'll get a chance to visit there someday. Matter of fact, in order to encourage you to visit the local businesses as well as the garden pharmacy, we've prepared some medical recipes that you've been provided, and they're good for discounts in the local stores.
We've enjoyed returning to see how Lexington has grown and how the people have changed. And we're blessed for having been here to visit and spend this time with you.